In 1936, Edgar Cayce advised a desperate mother that introducing a particular kind of salt into her gravely ill child's bath could restore his health within 3 days. The doctors had given up on the child, who was suffering from an enigmatic illness that rendered him unable to walk or speak. Remarkably, just 3 days later, the boy joyfully dashed through their home in Virginia, completely recovered. However, the most astonishing part of this story is that Cayce revealed salt serves not only as a healing tool, but also as a profound connection to the memory of your soul and the divine blueprint embedded within your very cells. What you are about to learn will significantly alter your perspective on this seemingly ordinary substance that resides in your kitchen. In the upcoming 25 minutes, I'll explain why ancient biblical writings regarded salt as a form of spiritual technology, how salt aids your body in sustaining psychic connections, and the exact method Cayce employed to awaken dormant spiritual powers with salt, a technique proven effective in countless documented instances. If you're prepared to uncover secrets that have remained concealed for ages, be sure to hit that subscribe button and enable notifications, as this knowledge could profoundly impact your spiritual path. It was in 1934 that Edgar Cayce entered one of his most significant trance states. His stenographer, Gladys Davis, was poised to record what would later emerge as one of the most groundbreaking spiritual insights of the 20th century. However, the revelations about salt shared that day left even his closest colleagues in utter disbelief. Cayce began to articulate in his distinctive trance voice, clarifying that salt transcended its conventional definition as a mere mineral or preservative. As the consciousness communicating through him conveyed, salt represented what he referred to as a crystallized memory of divine intention, a tangible entity that encapsulated the vibrational blueprint of existence itself. But that's not all. This narrative has further layers that will astound you. During that very session, Cayce disclosed that each grain of salt embodies what he called atomic prayers, tiny patterns that resonate with the same frequency as human awareness. He elaborated that when salt is dissolved in water, particularly if it has been blessed or prayed over, it forges a connection between the physical and spiritual domains that can both be measured and experienced. The woman who sought this reading had been diagnosed with a blood disorder that physicians labeled as incurable. Cayce advised her to mix sea salt into blessed water and consume it while repeating certain affirmations he had given. In just 6 weeks, her blood tests showed normal results, leaving her doctors astonished by what they termed a spontaneous remission. Here's what Cayce uncovered during one of his most unsettling readings regarding the frequent mention of salt, over 35 times, in biblical writings. And it contradicts what religious scholars have taught for generations. In a session that left his stenographer astonished, Cayce elaborated that when Jesus referred to his disciples as the salt of the earth, he wasn't merely being figurative. Instead, he was uncovering a genuine spiritual technology intended for the disciples to comprehend and utilize. Based on Cayce's source, salt serves as the tangible anchor that enables advanced souls to sustain their spiritual awareness while embodied in human form. The reading delved deeper, indicating that the crystalline structure of salt reflects the geometric patterns found in what Cayce termed the Akashic records, the universal archive of all soul experiences. When you deliberately consume salt, you are essentially taking in crystallized wisdom that aids your soul in recalling its purpose and mission in this life. This alters our entire perspective on consciousness, prayer, and healing. Within the documented instances found in the AR archives, Cayce suggested particular salt protocols designed to tap into past life recollections, boost psychic abilities, and speed up spiritual development. A man from Kentucky applied Cayce's salt meditation method, and after just 3 months, he vividly remembered 17 past lives, including names, places, and the life lessons that reshaped his insights into his present relationships and career direction. Now, this is where it becomes truly fascinating. In 3 minutes, I'll share the case that even frightened Cayce's assistant. Cayce proposed that within your body exist what he referred to as salt wisdom centers. These are particular areas where salt gathers to uphold spiritual channels of communication. These locations are not merely physical. They serve as actual antennas for receiving divine advice. Tears hold the highest concentration of spiritually significant salt, which explains why crying during prayer or meditation frequently results in profound insights and emotional healing. Additionally, the human brain is suspended in cerebrospinal fluid that has specific salt proportions, crucial for what Cayce called soul-brain communication. When these ratios are disrupted due to inadequate nutrition or a lack of spiritual connection, individuals encounter what he termed soul static, an experience characterized by feelings of confusion, lack of purpose, or spiritual numbness that affects millions of Americans today. Now, consider the story that astonished Cayce's team. In 1938, a woman brought her husband to Virginia Beach. He had been in what medical professionals described as a vegetative state for 8 months after a car accident. His family traveled all the way from Oklahoma, depleting their life savings on traditional treatments that yielded no success. In their desperation, the family turned to Cayce for assistance. As he conducted the reading, Cayce guided them to create baths with sea salt sourced from a particular area, infused with certain prayers, and applied at exact times in harmony with the lunar phases. He detailed that the man's spirit had drifted away from his physical self, and the salt would act as a spiritual attractor to bring his awareness back into his body. While the family felt doubtful, their urgency compelled them to adhere to Cayce's directions meticulously. On the 7th day, the man awoke and uttered his first words in 8 months. In just 3 weeks, he was able to walk again and had regained much of his cognitive abilities. The doctors were baffled by what they observed. However, there's an even deeper aspect to this healing that relates to secrets currently concealed within your body. Cayce disclosed that the recovery of this man transcended mere physical healing. It demonstrated that salt acts as a link between different levels of consciousness. The salt not only healed his mind, it also revived the bond of his soul with his physical body. This revelation presents remarkable opportunities for individuals struggling with depression, anxiety, or feelings of spiritual disconnection. While your body generates salt through numerous processes, Cayce explained that salt produced with spiritual awareness, namely salt made through prayer, meditation, and positive intentions, possesses unique vibrational qualities compared to regular salt. This is the reason why joyful tears bring a different kind of healing compared to sorrowful ones, and why the salt present in our bodies reacts to our spiritual condition. Cayce uncovered some intriguing insights about salt, which contemporary science is only starting to grasp. In readings from the 1940s, he noted that salt crystals possess the ability to hold memories. They can retain and convey vibrational information, similar to how we now understand that crystals can house digital data. When you offer a blessing to salt or pray over it, you are effectively programming it with your intention and a divine connection that your body can tap into and use. Archaeological findings back up Cayce's assertions regarding the spiritual importance of salt in various ancient societies. This includes references in the Dead Sea Scrolls to holy salt rituals. the existence of Himalayan salt deposits that formed millions of years ago and showcase what geologists term impossible mineral combinations, as well as Native American salt ceremonies that reflect methods Cayce mentioned during his trance sessions. All this suggests that salt holds far greater significance than merely being a basic mineral. In one particularly well-documented instance, a young woman who would today be diagnosed with severe PTSD sought Cayce's help after experiencing a traumatic event in World War II. Traditional therapy had proven ineffective, and she was contemplating institutional care. Cayce's reading recommended a targeted salt therapy, which entailed dissolving consecrated salt into water for both ingestion and external baths, accompanied by specific prayers. The change she experienced was striking and observed by several individuals. In just 6 weeks, her nightmares ceased, her anxiety significantly reduced, and she expressed feelings of spiritual renewal for the first time since her traumatic experience. She attributed her life-saving transformation to the salt treatment and subsequently assisted other trauma survivors with the same method. This highlights an essential insight regarding the impact of salt on the soul that is important to grasp. Based on Cayce's insights, traumatic events and adverse experiences generate what he referred to as soul debris, which manifests as energetic residues that hinder your spiritual clarity and connection to the divine. When used with the right spiritual focus, salt serves as a cleansing agent that can break down this debris and rejuvenate your soul's inherent brilliance. This is where contemporary Americans can integrate this timeless wisdom into their everyday spiritual routines. Cayce outlined particular methods for imbuing salt with spiritual intention. He advised holding salt in your hands during prayer or meditation, letting your life force energy charge the crystals with a sacred purpose. This energized salt can subsequently be utilized in culinary dishes, baths, or as a spiritual instrument for clarity and protection. The method is straightforward yet impactful. Hold sea salt or Himalayan salt in your hand, shut your eyes, and concentrate on your most profound spiritual goals. Envision divine energy streaming through your hands into the salt crystals. Express gratitude for this earthly blessing, and request that the salt contribute to your highest good and spiritual growth. A businessman from New York religiously adopted this practice after learning about Cayce's work through others. Each morning, he infused salt with intention during his meditation and incorporated it into his coffee and meals for the day. After 3 months, he noted significant enhancements in his intuitive decision-making in business, more profound experiences during prayer, and what he termed a continuous sense of divine direction in his everyday life. However, there exists an even more potent method that Cayce uncovered for tapping into past life memories and the purpose of salt through its usage. In readings from the late 1930s, Cayce explained a technique he referred to as salt scrying. This approach facilitated the reception of divine guidance and the recollection of soul memories through the combination of salt and water. This method includes the process of mixing blessed salt with spring water while posing specific questions regarding your soul's purpose or seeking advice on life choices. As the salt dissolves, participants enter a meditative state, taking note of the patterns, visuals, or sensations that emerge. According to Cayce, the dissolving salt establishes a vibrational link to the Akashic records, enabling souls to tap into their own cosmic narratives and divine missions. A teacher based in California documented her encounters with this practice over a span of 6 months. She shared that she received clear insights about career shifts, relationship choices, and spiritual practices, which culminated in what she termed as finally living her true soul mission for the first time. The entries in her journal, stored in the AR archives, captured particular insights and forecasts that have been validated with time. This ties into a deep aspect of salt's significance in biblical prophecy and spiritual enlightenment that remains largely unknown to many. Cayce disclosed that the mentions of salt in the Bible extended beyond mere symbolism. They referred to genuine spiritual technologies intended for enlightened souls to grasp and utilize. When Lot's wife transformed into salt, Cayce clarified that this event was not a form of punishment, but rather a metamorphosis. Her awareness had become so entwined with lower vibrational frequencies that she essentially crystallized into the mineral recognized for its preservation and purification qualities. The salt pillar symbolizes the decision that each soul encounters: to cling to a lower state of awareness or to evolve into a transformative catalyst for the divine purpose. This perspective allows us to view biblical mentions of salt not just as narratives or symbols, but as guides for spiritual progress. Consider what this implies for your journey toward enlightenment and self-discovery. Your connection with salt mirrors your engagement with spiritual cleansing and divine intention. By consuming salt with awareness, honoring it, and recognizing its sacred essence, you engage in a timeless tradition that links you to the universal consciousness and enhances your spiritual development. Cayce believed that various kinds of salt possess distinct spiritual qualities. For instance, sea salt links to emotional recovery and enhances psychic skills. Himalayan salt provides a connection to earthly wisdom and boosts physical energy. Rock salt, sourced from ancient deposits, embodies what he referred to as time wisdom, granting insights from earlier spiritual epochs when people were more consciously aligned with divine dimensions. A nurse in Virginia Beach started to integrate Cayce's teachings on salt into her meditation sessions and the care she provided to her patients. She indicated that patients had a more favorable reaction when she blessed the salt used in their IVs and treatments, and her own spiritual awareness significantly heightened over 18 months of regular practice. However, the most astonishing insight about salt that will transform your perception of your body's divine engineering is this. In his readings from 1944, Cayce stated that the balance of salt in your body has a direct impact on your capacity to receive divine guidance and uphold soul awareness while in physical form. When your body is adequately mineralized with spiritually awakened salt, your cellular framework becomes increasingly open to what he referred to as divine downloads, immediate transmissions of wisdom, healing, and purpose from elevated states of consciousness. This is the reason Cayce frequently suggested particular salt protocols for individuals aiming to enhance their psychic gifts or enrich their prayer practices. The salt genuinely calibrates your physical being to better accept and emit spiritual frequencies. Recent studies on the influence of salt on neural conductivity back up Cayce's mystical perceptions. For your nervous system to operate at its best, it needs accurate salt levels, and the efficiency of your brain in handling information relies heavily on a balanced mineral composition. Current scientific findings resonate perfectly with the insights Cayce shared regarding the spiritual importance of salt many years ago. A meditation instructor from Colorado started introducing Cayce's methods involving salt to her pupils and recorded impressive outcomes. Students shared that they encountered more profound meditative states, received clearer divine guidance, and experienced faster spiritual insights. Many reported undergoing what they termed as spiritual initiations during meditation practices enhanced with salt, which profoundly shifted their understanding of their life's purpose. This leads us to the practical steps you can take to enhance your spiritual journey immediately. Start each morning by blessing your salt whether it's in your meals, bathwater, or carried as a spiritual aid. Request that it support your highest good and spiritual growth. During the course of the day, keep in mind that salt is a sacred element that links you to a higher consciousness, rather than just a seasoning or a chemical substance. Establish a weekly ritual of salt baths using either sea salt or Himalayan salt, mixing it with warm water while engaging in prayer or setting your spiritual intentions. According to Cayce, this ritual helps to purge both physical toxins and spiritual remnants, fostering an environment for divine guidance and clarity of the soul to manifest. When confronted with significant decisions or in search of spiritual understanding, consider utilizing Cayce's salt scrim technique. Dissolve blessed salt in spring water while concentrating on your inquiry. Then take time to meditate and pay attention to the impressions, visions, or insights that emerge as the salt dissolves. The records from countless readings conducted by Cayce highlight that salt transcends being merely a mineral. It serves as a spiritual tool that can facilitate your awakening, deepen your divine connection, and assist you in fulfilling your soul's purpose during this lifetime. However, it's crucial to grasp the importance of applying these practices in your contemporary life. Prioritizing consistency is essential over striving for perfection. Begin with straightforward daily rituals involving salt blessings and gradually introduce more complex methods as they resonate with your spiritual journey. Cayce underscored that spiritual practices should be in harmony with your soul's level of readiness and true calling, rather than executed mechanically or out of obligation. Keep a journal to document your experiences as you cultivate your relationship with salt as a spiritual tool, allowing you to recognize patterns, insights, and transformations. Many of the most impactful healing cases noted by Cayce began with straightforward practices that gradually evolved into significant spiritual revelations. Reach out to others on a similar journey who are delving into these teachings. The ARI community is dedicated to researching and implementing Cayce's insights, offering support and affirmation for individuals navigating this spiritual journey today. Remember, these aren't merely New Age concepts, but rather ancient knowledge that Cayce tapped into through his extraordinary ability of cosmic consciousness. These methods have undergone extensive testing and have been substantiated through thousands of documented cases collected over decades of careful observation and documentation. Your desire to utilize salt as a spiritual instrument links you to a lineage of individuals who have engaged in these practices for awakening, healing, and fulfilling divine purposes throughout the ages. You are not merely acquiring techniques. You are actively participating in the spiritual evolution of humanity and recalling your soul's divine essence. The salt found in your tears, blood, and cells embodies the memories of your soul's journey across countless lifetimes and dimensions. By intentionally working with salt, you connect with this cosmic memory and allow it to steer your current existence toward its highest potential. As you start to integrate these practices, keep an open mind to the significant transformations that may emerge. Cayce's teachings repeatedly highlight that spiritual development speeds up when individuals connect with natural spiritual practices such as salt work. The documented instances of healing and awakening serve as motivating examples of what can be achieved. While your spiritual path is distinct, the insights Cayce shared regarding the sacred properties of salt are applicable to all individuals seeking a more profound connection with divine consciousness and genuine spiritual expression. If this information has broadened your perspective, be sure to subscribe and activate the notification bell so you won't miss any future insights from Edgar Cayce's remarkable legacy. Share this video with anyone eager to delve into the deeper aspects of spiritual awakening and conscious living. The universe offers straightforward, accessible tools like salt to facilitate your spiritual growth. Your readiness to acknowledge and engage with these abilities illustrates your soul's preparedness for the upcoming stage of awareness and divine service that is ready for you to uncover.